Hey book besties, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me and have never seen me before, hi, my name's Nash. I like to read and talk about all things books. So in this video, I am going to talk about my 2023 reads from November and December because these 2 months were absolutely jam-packed with some good books and I definitely want to get my thoughts out. So let's get into it. And for November, I read the newly released A Fire in the Flesh by Jennifer Armentrout. This is book 3 in the Flesh and Fire series, so I picked up right where I left off. This one gave everything I was expecting it to give. I knew after I finished book 2 that this one was going to be chaos, and it lived up to my expectations. The scenes with the spice, were so good. The battle scenes with the primals was good. I like the story, where the story's going. We're getting closer and closer to what kicks off everything that Poppy and Cass in From Blood and Ash are dealing with. So I'm really interested to see where the story goes. At the very end, there's a scene with Sarah and Nyktos in Sarah's lake. Guys, when I tell you I was sobbing, like hysterically ugly crying sobbing, it was one of the most beautiful, gut-wrenching, but also heartfelt moments I've ever experienced while reading a book. And this just made me so happy to continue the story. Of course, it was a 5-star book, and I can't wait till book 4 is released. And with the upcoming release of Iron Flame, I decided to do my Fourth Wing reread. That's actually when this special edition with the extra chapters and Xaden's POV came out. So I was so excited to dive in. I'm not going to get too much into this because we already talked about it, but it still lived up to the 5 stars. It was perfect. The extra chapters and Xaden's POV, I knew in some of those scenes, he had to be thinking. He had to be having those gears shifting up there, and I'm glad she gave us just a taste of what was in Xaden's mind at that point. And I went right after this, straight into Iron Flame. After that, I read the long-awaited Iron Flame. This is the sequel to Fourth Wing. I had a good time reading this. I was kicking my feet. I was screaming. I was crying. I know there are mixed reviews about it. Some people did not like it. Some people even DNF'd it. But I personally really did enjoy it. The ending, I still don't really know how I feel about it. I'm not upset. I'm not sad. I'm like in limbo right now because really interested to see where she's going to take this story. Obviously, we don't know a lot about a lot of stuff in the world just yet. She hasn't got too deep into that. So I'm really excited to learn more about the Venom and the Wyvern and all the history behind everything that's going on. This one was a 5-star read. Y'all should have known. And after finishing that monster of a book that was Iron Flame, because that book was long, I decided to start listening to some more audiobooks, so I listened to A Shadow Crown by Melissa Blair. This is book 2 of the Halfling Saga. This one, we continue to follow Kira on her journey to self-discovery and trying to find out who is responsible for what's going on in the kingdom. She ends up meeting Riven and Nico, and there are so many good characters. She ends up joining up with some halflings and some fae, and she got a posse going on for her. They are trying to overthrow the king at this point and save the halflings. I'm actually really excited for book 3. I'm probably going to wait for that one to come out on audiobook as well, just because it like fits with the whole vibe. I listened to all of them on audiobook. I did give this one a 4 stars because this one's just a little bit better. We got a little bit of some spice with Kira and Riven. We got some romance going on with them. Nico is a great side character, so I'm really excited to see how it goes. And continuing on with audiobooks, I listened to Storm and Fury by JLA. This one is from her Harbinger series. We follow Trinity. She is a Nephilim who is being protected by gargoyles. No one's supposed to know she's a Nephilim because Nephilims are valuable and their blood draws demons. So this is her trying to stay safe in the gargoyle encampment. However, the Harbinger's coming for her. The Harbinger is coming for her, so there's an increase in demon attacks that get closer and closer, and it was really good. I think Misha was a really good character in this one. I also really like Trinity. She said it gives me very YA. I'm not sure if the book is YA. I didn't check, but it has some youthful words in there, and I thought it was so funny listening to it because I wasn't expecting it because I've read JLA's other series, and they're definitely not kid friendly, you know what I mean? But this one was a 3-star read, and I definitely wanted to continue on with the series. But I listened to the graphic audio, and that That's where it's at, y'all. The graphic audio, chef's kiss. After finishing Iron Flame, I did go into a little bit of a physical reading slump. Like, I couldn't hold a physical book, so I decided to finish some books that I started in October but got bumped out of priority because Iron Flame's released. But I did finish Carnage by Shantel Tessier. And guys, one thing about Miss Shantel, is she's going to have you questioning your morals. She's going to have you questioning whether you are toxic as well, but also being like, what the fuck? Because what the fuck, okay? This one, we follow the couple Saint and Ashton. Saint is a Spade brother who is in charge of Carnage. That is where all the bad lords and all the bad people that's breaks their oaths and don't listen to the lords, they go to Carnage and they get what's coming to them, okay? This one was absolutely insane. I actually took a little break between parts 1 and 2 so I could read Iron Flame, but part 1 was intense, but it did give you a lot of backstory about them as a couple, the Spade brothers, how Carnage is run. But my girl Ashton said, I gotta get the fuck up out of here. I gotta go. She shot Saint point blank range in the chest so she could get away. Sure did. My girl ain't got no problem pulling no trigger. She hesitated for a second, she did. But she still did it. She still did it, you know what I mean? This was a 5-star read. Honestly, Hayden was one of my favorite characters in this one. I kind of liked him a little bit more than Saint, but overall, Shantel can do no wrong. I cannot wait to read her other 2 books in the Lord series whenever I get the time. On to the next. So again, another book that I was wrapping up from October. I actually softy and this one in October because it was just not fitting my vibe, and that was A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. Now listen, this one does have very, very beautiful writing. It's a very beautiful story. I think because I'm an action person, I'm a gore person, I'm a chaos person, and this did not have any of those 3 things. It was basically it's a Dracula retelling, like a reimagining of Dracula's Brides, and it just was not. I think I can read stuff like this, you know what I mean? It's just, it was not, it didn't fit where it was at, you know what I mean? This one, we follow Constana, and she is the first bride of Dracula, and she's basically retelling their lives together on why they basically killed him. She goes through their lives together. They have Magdalena, they get Alexei, so he brings in other people, but it's all told from Constana's point of view, which I thought was very interesting. Only part I had an issue with this one was being that they're sired by the same vampire. They kept saying, you know, father or mother or sister, whatever the case, and they were all sleeping together. It gave me the ick. I was not rocking with that, but overall the writing and everything was beautiful, so I still did give it a 4 stars. And next, I listened to the graphic audio of Rage and Ruin, which is book 2 in the Harbinger series by JLA. This one actually, it literally just came out when I wanted to listen to it, so it was perfect. This one, we continue to follow Trinity, except Trinity has left her old gargoyle community because Nisha is missing, who is her gargoyle protector. He's missing, so she leaves the community with another gargoyle named Zane, and they are trying to find Misha. Except everything is not what it seems, and Misha is not what he seems. The Harbinger is coming. They have witches. They have princes of hell. This one tickled my fancy a little bit more, so this one definitely did get a 4-star read for me. And the last book I read in November was Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. And guys, I'm a little bit mad at myself because I waited so long to read this, because this book was so much fun. It was so relatable as a Black woman. I felt my little Black girl spirit getting so excited by reading about a character that looks like me, that understands some of the microaggressions and the things like that that I personally have gone through and probably will continue to go through if I'm being honest. This book, we follow Bree. It is a Knights of the Round Table King Arthur retelling. So Bree is in the South and she goes to this like early education program at a college. She ends up seeing something she shouldn't see and gets sucked into the world of the order, and she is trying to really figure out how she fits into all this and what role she has to play. This was a 5-star read for me, and I was dying to pick up Bloodmarked as soon as I closed this one. And of course, after a book like Legendborn, y'all know I had to start off December right, and I did with Bloodmarked. This is book 2 in the Legendborn cycle, the sequel to Legendborn. And guys, this was my first 6-star book. I thought Iron Flame for a minute was my first 6-star book, but then I had to think about it and I was like, no, I don't think it was like that. If 5 stars was good, but this one was 6 stars. 6 stars, okay? The the relatability in these 2 books, I can't even express how much that meant to me as a reader, because I love a good other book, but most of the characters are either, different beings altogether or non-black. So this these 2 books, guys, I can't even get the words out, okay? But we continue to follow Bree in this one. I can't really tell you too much without spoiling the book, so I'm trying to keep it as minimal as possible, but she continues on her journey. She figures out that she is more a part of this world of the Order than she first anticipated. There's a scene in here where they go to a plantation, and the plantation is being protected by those who have died, the slaves. Anybody who's died on that plantation, they protect it. And I thought that was so cool and so interesting. Not only did it make me very sad, you know what I mean? But it also made me feel very powerful, like very emboldened. And I could not ask Miss Deonn to do any better. I cannot wait until Oathbound comes out in 2025. I wish it was now. You know what I mean? I wish it was 2024, but I can wait. This is one I can wait for, and I'm dying to get my hands on it. After reading so many long books in my reading journey for 2023, I really just wanted some short reads to add on to my reading goal. So I did that. I started with A God of Wrath and Lies by Kate and Moronova. This one I had seen floating around on TikTok. The author happens to be a mutual of mine, and I don't know why I didn't pick it up, but I'm so glad I did. This one we follow Elodie. She is kind of a wanderer. She lives in her parents' backyard after her dog has passed. Then she decides to follow a man that she sees and his dog. She follows him, he talks to her, and they end up going into another world called the Tomorrow. The only thing is Elodie can't leave. She has the expectation when she initially goes that she's going to, you have to just go. It only opens once a day, but she can't leave. She doesn't know why she can't leave. There's obviously some more hidden things going on with Elodie, and it was such a good time. I cannot wait to read book 2. The level of creativeness that I felt from reading this, it was so fun. I had never expected to read something like that, and Miss Cam, she did her thing. This one was a 4-star read for me. Then I read Court of Dragons and Crowns and Court of Dragons and Vows by G. Bailey. This is book 1 and book 2 in her Dragon Crown series. We follow El Lin. She is a human who only has her grandma. Her parents died when she was young, and she ends up getting kidnapped by 4 men, and they take her to another world. In this other world, she is forced to compete in what's called the Dragon Crown race to become one of the 4 dragon queens. The only thing is, she want to go. She don't want to be a part of this. She don't know anything about this world. She don't know anything about this, even though supposedly her family agreed to it, but she don't know none of that, okay? So she's like, I want to go home. They're like, no, you compete or you die. You compete or you die. So it had that intense high stakes trial for, I love that. I love a good trial. She ends up engaging with the 4 dragon queens and kind of develops a little bit of a relationship with each of them. So this is a dragon shifter wide choose. It was a lot of fun. It was really short. I pretty much devoured this book, okay? And Court of Dragons and Vows just continues on their story. There's a character that is the big bad guy from what is causing all the problems in the world, and he's back. He's back and it's already destroyed things. El Lin ends up getting pushed into enemy territory and has to conform. She gets her own dragon. She ends up really developing a relationship with all 4 dragon kings. My personal favorites are Arden and Emrys. Emrys is kind of like a sweet and charismatic guy. Arden is a very strong and powerful personality, so I loved both of them. Each book got 4 stars. And the next one, of course, it was December at this time, so I wanted to read something Christmas-esque, not necessarily about Christmas, but you get the spirit of Christmas. Christmas is mentioned. And I also wanted just some really good, filthy smut. But one of my friends recommended Tangled and Tinsel by Trilina Pucci, and baby, it delivered. Baby, it delivered. It was 0 plot. Absolutely none. Nada. Nilch. Okay? No plot. just smut. Okay, it was perfect. It was everything I was looking for. In this one, we follow Samantha. She is an interior designer. She is decorating a cabin or like a lodge for her boss for his Christmas party, except she gets snowed in and she ain't going nowhere. Just her and her 4 fine bosses are snowed in this luxurious lodge, and this is about her weekend with him. And when I tell you it was 180 pages of smut, that's exactly what it was. And of course, I still did give it 4 stars. And at this point, I was deep into my Kindle reads for the month, so I decided to pick up Forsaken Mate by Vasilisa Drake. This is book 1 in her Shifted Fate series. We follow Avery, who is a wolf shifter in the Moon Ghost Pack, except she is the weakest one. They call her the Omega, so she gets bullied. She ends up getting bullied and something happens to her. She gets transported to another world. She meets another wolf shifter. His name is Cole. Except everything's not what it seems, okay? Avery is just thinking like, oh, something, this is a cool place or whatever. But there's definitely more to Avery than meets the eye. I thought this one was fun. It was interesting. Cole as a big ass wolf shifter MMC. I loved it. I gave this one a 4 stars too. And I did finish my one audiobook of the month, and that was A Court This Cruel and Lovely by Stacia Stark. In this one, we follow Priska. She lives in a world where you're not supposed to have magic. The king or the government takes your magic when you're a baby, and then once you reach 25 winters, you do get your power back, or at least an amount of it, right? And Priska still has her magic, and she, for whatever reason, it was not taken from her when she was a babe. So she is basically living in hiding. She ends up getting found out and goes on the run, where she meets Lorian, who is our MMC. He is a mercenary, and Priska is just trying to survive at this point. She has to leave her brother. Her mom is killed at this point, and I really had a good time reading this one. I love Lorian's voice. Whoever is the voice actor for him or the narrator, okay, because his voice is just, it is so good. And it wasn't even the graphic audio, y'all. It was just a regular standard audiobook on Audible. I was so happy, okay? It was so entertaining, so much fun. The banter between Priska and Lorian was almost to die for. It was so good because he's always pushing her to be better and be stronger, but he don't sugarcoat nothing for her, and she gets easily annoyed at him, which I would too, girl. But this one was also a 4-star read for me. And the very last book I read in 2023, which was perfect in my opinion, was Serpent in the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. In this one, we follow Aurea. She is a human whose village was decimated, and she is the only survivor. She meets Vincent, who takes her under his wing. He is the Nightborn king of the Hyage vampires. She grows up under his wing in a world of vampires. Even though she's human, she can fight for herself, she can do her own thing, but she's curious about her past and potential family, so she decides to join the Kajari, which is a set of trials where the winner is granted a wish or something from the goddess Nyaxia. Now, speaking of Nyaxia, y'all, okay? Speaking of Nyaxia, that bitch is petty. That bitch is petty. She likes her kids fighting. She likes them scrapping in the backyard, no boxing glove, just bare fist, okay? Because she throws some curveballs at them and what she wants from them. It's obviously super entertaining. Our MMC is Rain. He is also in the Kajari for his own personal reasons. He ends up developing a romance or an allyship with Aurea in the beginning, then it does develop into that romance. It was fun, it was witty, it was chaotic, there was action, there was so much that I really enjoyed about it. So of course, this was a 5-star book for me. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you love all things books too, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.